Again, I'm making another video today. I'm working on my friend's heater. Originally what was happening was the flame would come on and it would run for about 3 seconds and then shut off. And I'll show you what happens with this exactly. So I'm going to do a little test trial here. I'll show you something. So the sequence of operation on a furnace is the igniter will come on, start to glow. Now I have this is all of it here, so I'm going to show you. This is door switch here that's got to be covered for this thing to run. So I'm going to hold this in and put it in bypass so it'll run. So I'll show you exactly. Right now I have it, so it'll do the same problem that it was doing before because I have it disconnected. So let me show you this. So the sequence of operation, the combustion fan comes on, blows all the exhaust air out, then your igniter will start to glow. These two little wires right here go to igniter. You see that glowing in there? Next step is gas valve will open, turn on. Fire comes on, goes all the way over and hits that little bar. That's called a flame sensor. Now what happened is the flame sensor, they get dirty, so sometimes you got to clean them off. But in this case here was it'll hit this flame sensor, and if that sensor doesn't register a signal to this controller board, it will fail it out. So if the sensor's dirty, that will give you a bad reading. So in this case, we took this sensor out, and it's this little goodie here. See, it's going to try again. I'll show you. It failed the first time, so it'll try. Usually these things will go a couple times until the computer, and it takes 3 seconds to get a reading to send back here. Otherwise, it will fail. So I'll show you right here what's going on. So first thing you can do is, if you have this problem at home, is disconnect this wire. You'll see a flame bar, and it usually goes in, the fire hits it. So there's one screw there. You'll pull that out, take some fine Scotch-Brite pad or a fine sandpaper, and just kind of polish it. So if this is the sensor, just kind of clean it up. You want to get it nice and polished up, so it gives a good signal of the heat, the fire hitting that to send back over. Okay, we did that, still wasn't getting a reading on my meter here, and I'll show you how to test it. So that line, this wire goes back to your control board here. Okay, so you have, this is the wire that goes off the sensor. It comes in off this board. So if you want to test to see what kind of reading you get, you'll put that on there. You put your negative lead on the sensor and your positive lead on the actual circuit board. You're going to put your meter on microamps. It's a little backwards U-shaped. So this produces a microamp signal. We're going to turn it on. Right now, it's at 0. So we want to range from a signal of at least 1.5 to 3 microamps DC when the fire's hitting it. So as it comes on, usually if you have a low signal, anything below 1, the fire will hit it, it will read, but it will send a low signal back to this board. So anything under 1, this board will fail it. So you want to have anything around 2 to 3 is good. So as you can see, I'm at 2.8, 2.6. It's going to change and fluctuate a little bit, but as it runs more, it'll heat up and get hotter. So that's what we want to see. If this signal is below 1 amp, 1 microamp, it will fail the board and it will not run. So the situation I had here was the fact that the grounding was weak. So remember too, when you're putting this thing in here, make sure that the base of that sensor is nice and clean, and the metal on the ground is nice and clean. Make sure your ground wires that come all this area that feed over, because you gotta remember all this is grounded back over to this. Make sure all the grounds are good. And then once the burner comes on and registers, now your blower fan will turn on. Once it reaches temperature, now you're putting hot air into the house. So that's pretty much something to check when you are working on these things. So again, this is for a flame sensor failure. So I hope this video helped you guys out. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. I had 1,000 subscribers finally, so I'm kind of excited about that. So, all right, thanks YouTube, and leave a comment. Peace.